What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Nourish with Renata podcast. And today I have the most incredible guest who truly has been such an inspiration for me ever since I heard about her own health and healing journey. And that's really why I wanted to bring her to the show today. She's been through so much adversity that could be considered something that many women or human beings would not be able to find their way out of. But what is absolutely inspiring and enlightening is how she was able to take this hardship, learn from it, and now is using that to help to elevate other people's lives. So I'm so excited to introduce you to Tina. What's going on?
Hey Renata, how are you? Thank you for having me on. This is such a pleasure.
Oh, you're so welcome. Well, let me give you a couple minutes because for anyone that doesn't know you yet, we're going to dive into your history, but I really want you to share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. So as you can probably hear, I'm British. I'm 55 years of age, and I have three grown-up children from 16, 19, and 21. I have a wonderful husband called Keith and lots of pets. And I came to Katy, Texas 10 years ago. And in those 10 years, I have previously been working as a food photographer, a food stylist, and a prop stylist. So that took me through wonderful jobs, wonderful places, and met some wonderful people. I'm also an abstract artist. So I've exhibited some of my work in Dallas and Houston also. So that's kept me quite busy. So I definitely have a very creative side that I love to nurture, and I still do dip into that now and again. Yeah.
Amazing.
Now I'm
Yeah.
a I'm a midlife coach. I studied holistic health. I studied emotional eating and trauma and resilience. And I like to coach midlife ladies from 40 onwards with adversities in their life, menopause, nutrition in menopause, and the many transitions and challenges that we come up against in our midlife season. So yeah, that's me.
Wow. Okay. So you've had many different interests, let's say, in
I
your
have.
life.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always been a creative. I mean, I started in finance when I was very young, which was very boring to me as a creative soul. And I just felt a really strong sense of wanting to, if I could just help one person that went through something similar to what I went through and to find a way out and to transform, then I really wanted to do that. So I'm very, very passionate about helping women at this time of our life for many different reasons.
Yes. And this is really why I wanted to ask you to share your story here today. First and foremost, though, I want to send a big shout out to Vivan. I know she's going to listen to this episode. Because she really introduced us and she was adamant that we would hit it off, and she was so right.
Yeah, she was. She's always right. She's great.
Yes. And really, when we sat down and chatted, you shared with me about how you'd been through such a huge health transition in your life and why that was so important for you to get you to where you are right now, and why that then essentially became the impetus behind doing the midlife coaching that you're doing now. So I'd
Yeah.
love for you to share in as much detail as you are comfortable with what has been going on for you in the last several years.
Okay, sure. So my story kind of began in early midlife, around 42, and I was thriving at the top of my health game. I was training and competing in triathlons, living in the Middle East with my husband's job, and everything was going swimmingly well. We loved it there. It was gorgeous beaches, mountains, deserts. I could train, and it was just absolutely bliss. And then my middle daughter, Florence, started to present some signs that there was something wrong with her mental health. And over the years that followed, we found that she had some severe psychiatric problems. This basically went through the next 10 years of our life, with her going in and out of residential treatment centers and getting help, therapeutic schools. The first time we had to send her away from home to a therapeutic school, she was 10 years old. And that really broke our hearts. So that was kind of the beginning of the layers of adversities that kind of hit our lives, and the curved balls just kept coming. I came to the USA in 2014 with my husband's work, and we were able to get my middle daughter some help because the help in the USA was so fantastic. So she went into a lot of care and therapy, which has helped her enormously. And today she's 19 and doing really well. However, you know, the emotional pain that we went through as a family through that whole period was extreme. And it wasn't just the effect of the psychiatric pain that my daughter was going through. It was the pain that we went through in our marriage, the pain of the siblings. The siblings both started to present as unwell themselves. They were having anxiety and panic disorders. My middle daughter was actually very violent and aggressive. And this began at quite a young age and went through into her teens. And that was really hard for the whole family. Really, really hard on us, really hard on the relationships in the family. And the stress was always at, you know, maximum level. I basically isolated myself through a lot of this. I think any other woman that goes through a child having an extreme mental illness or additional needs finds that sometimes they can't relate to other people. And so I found that I would isolate and just kind of go away and lick my wounds and sort of stay alone a lot of the time. And I didn't want to really burden anyone also with the pain that I was going through. I think that was a big thing. And it was a very lonely existence. And I found that I closed myself off to a lot of friends and a lot of social connections. Around this period of time, unfortunately, both my husband's parents died and my mother within a 10-month period. This was really, really tough. And I felt like it just added another layer. Being abroad and having to try and travel backwards and forwards for their illness and their funerals and things was really, really awful and really, really stressful on the whole family. So kind of over a period of about 10 years, I found that it was really quite a steady and slow decline, my health. And I think I didn't always notice it at the time that it was happening. I used some very maladaptive coping mechanisms. And one of the things I found was that wine, you know, became my nightly friend. Food tend to numb and anesthetize any of my emotions that were uncomfortable that I was feeling. So I was practically stuffing down my pain. And I had no ability to process my emotions in a healthy way. Even through therapy, I just felt lost. I felt that I'd been this really healthy person, and now I was this person that was kind of laying on my bed all day, watching Netflix, drinking energy drinks, smoking, eating, drinking wine at night. And that was kind of the cycle of my life, and just functioning enough to get my other two children and my husband through life. So it wasn't a good place to be. And I'd always loved the concept when I was a healthy being of holistic health. I'd always loved it. I studied it. And I decided to try and study some emotional eating certifications and trauma and resilience to really try and build on that to help myself really in the first instance. And I kind of learned the roadmap to get to where I wanted to be, but I just didn't know how to get there. I didn't know how to do it. And I think that's kind of a lot of problem with a lot of not only midlife women, but women in general that are going through things like this, and men. You just feel stuck. You know, my sleep was awful. My skin was awful. My hair was falling out. I gained 40 pounds. I felt bloated, sad, hopeless, anxious, depressed, all of it really. I couldn't really recognize the person that looked back at me in the mirror, and I just saw the woman that I wanted to be, and I just couldn't get there. You know, a lot of women can probably relate. I joined gyms that I never used, exercise bikes that became clothes hangers. In the bedroom, I embarked on crazy smoothie juice diets and fasting and restricting and then binging, and just in an effort and an attempt to get rid of this. One of the things was the weight gain. Then unfortunately, there's more to the story. My husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and this was quite a recent thing. This came just about a couple of years ago, and it really broke. I think it just completely and utterly was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I really felt that at that moment I had just fallen to my knees, and I knew in that moment that if I didn't help myself, I couldn't carry my husband through what he was about to go through, and my children. So that is what me and my husband committed to doing. And we had dark moments, but then we picked ourselves up and we carried on. I knew that this time felt kind of like my call to action for myself. I gave up alcohol completely. I started a purely clean and whole food diet, mostly plant-based, but not in its entirety. I gave up smoking. I read and read and read and studied and read some more. I laughed a lot. I cried a lot. I put my trust in my friends again. I drank water again. I walked miles. I got outside in the outdoors, whatever the weather. I lost weight. My skin cleared up. I felt energetic again. My sleep regulated. I minimized sugar, which was a really huge thing for me because I was practically a sugar addict. And the wonderful thing about that was I felt my anxiety lift and my depression lift. Quite unbelievable how food is medicine. And in those simple moments, we just decided to choose joy. And when things like this hit you in life, you can either sink or swim. You can either, I felt at times like I was drowning and that I was being pulled under, but I took that choice to swim. And we never looked back. And we decided that every day, however hard it would be, we would choose some gratitude. We chose gratitude for the doctors that treated him. We chose gratitude for being in Houston near the best cancer hospital in the world. We chose gratitude that we had each other, that we had our family and our friends. And however cheesy that sounds, that is what we did every day. And we had our tears, but that's kind of how we dealt with it. And he did the same. Obviously, his health is amazing. He doesn't drink, he doesn't eat meat. And that's saying something for this man who was a wine swilling carnivore. And he's cancer free today, which is miraculous because he had pancreatic cancer stage 2. The tumor was quite a large one. And he was one of the lucky ones that could have it operated on. And he's healthier today than he was before and cancer free. So we decided from that moment we wouldn't look back, that we would just continue to live our life in that vein. And there are admittedly difficult times. There are difficult times throughout your whole life. And I think the point here is that the difficult times don't just stop coming. They just shapeshift into other things. It's like when you have children and they're young and it's challenging. It doesn't necessarily get easier. It just morphs into something different as they get older. And I think life is very much like that. You can't look for an end point where this is it, I'm sorted, I've got everything figured out, because I think that things will come that will challenge me in the future. We'll all have to deal with sickness or death or sorrow and things in our life, and I think it's the other components that underpin those moments, and the way that you think and the way that you deal with them and the way that you choose to adapt your life that can change those life experiences into something quite different. So we decided to live, and we decided to live in joy and happiness, and that's kind of, and laughter, and that's what we decided to do. And I felt very strongly that if I could help, you know, not necessarily another midlife lady that's had the same adversity, but just any life adversity, you know, it's a difficult time. You're perhaps an empty nester, or, you know, maybe your husband has, you know, betrayed you, or you're going through divorce or separation, or there's some sickness in your family, or a family member has died, or you have sickness yourself. You know, these things tend to creep up upon us in midlife. And you know, I vowed that if I could just help one other person, then I would. And that's really my story.
Wow. Even upon hearing it again, I'm still absolutely floored with the sheer amount of adversity you had to face in a relatively short period of time, and what a joyful person you are here today. So those choices, those decisions that you made were key, I feel like, to how you've been able to take this, you know, possibly or potentially traumatic time and really turn it into a life's mission.
Absolutely. And it isn't an overnight process. It's there's no sort of button that just, or switch that goes off that kind, I mean, we had a catalyst moment, but it is a process for a lot of people. But it can be done. Things can be changed. You can change your mindset. You can change your habits and your behaviors. It's just believing in yourself and doing it, and knowing that it's not going to happen overnight. My health journey started with me. I took coaching for myself at the time, because, you know, coaches need coaching too. And my coach taught me to walk every day and drink water. And that was all I did to begin with. That was all I could manage. And it's those tiny habits that snowball into bigger things. And gradually I clawed my way back to, you know, a healthy 55-year-old. I'm never going to be the person that I was in my 20s, you know, but I feel great. I feel ready for the rest of my life. And I feel like it's going to be probably the best season of my life.
I agree. Wow.
Yeah.
So really with your coaching now and the importance of the coaching that you've experienced in the past, what I'd love to do is to give you an opportunity to share with anyone that might be resonating with the hardships that you faced, perhaps 3 tips that you would recommend to help them to start shifting to perhaps a more positive outlook, or to help them to look for more health in their lives. What would be those 3 tips that you would share?
Okay, so my first tip would be, and it sounds kind of weird, but a really big thing for me was acceptance. And I felt that my whole being resisted everything that I was going through when I was going through it. And it was a mindset of, this can't be happening to me. This isn't fair. Why me? You know, and that it's that resistance to what you're going through that causes the suffering. So the number one thing that I learned to do was just to lean into it a bit more and let life unfold. And that's not always easy to do. And acceptance doesn't mean that you want it to be that way. It is just accepting what is. And it's actually very freeing to do that, just to let life unfold. And that's my number one. Number two was, find some time in your day for gratitude. There's always something to be grateful for, even in the darkest moments. Even if it means writing 3 things down a day, or saying 3 things to yourself. And it doesn't have to be anything huge. It could be, thank you for my breath, or the trees, or, you know, my lovely walk today, or just notice things and just be grateful for the things that we do have, you know, your family and the wonderful things that you have around you in everyday life. And number 3, I would say, try and cultivate joy with social connection. It's really important. However, my husband taught me, and I think I've said this before to you, Renata, I think I said it at the last thing we were at, that he taught me to enjoy the interlude. So when life's chaotic, accept that it is chaotic, but there'll always be little interludes where you laugh or you have joy or something's funny or your family are laughing and you're looking at your children and they're all laughing. And those little interludes are what carry you through. So just appreciate the interludes, accept the chaos, and yeah. So joy, acceptance, gratitude. They're my three.
Love that. And they're so implementable. None of the things that you shared were things you had to go out and buy something, or you had to, get into an environment that potentially could make you uncomfortable. It's literally something that you can do right here, right now. And that's what I love about those tangible tips. It's simply a shift in how you're seeing things. And sometimes these easy reminders by listening to this podcast or, reading something inspiring can give you that little bump in your energy to help you to see things in a different light.
Absolutely. And you and I both know that, you especially, Renata, that also, and I'm not allowed to have a fourth one, I know, but that, a vital foundation for all of this was my nutrition, and not hard exercise, but necessarily, but just being outside, moderately walking or doing something that's moving your body, and, have that foundation of good nutrition to support your mind, to support your body and your spirit, because it was really key to my kind of moving on to all the other stuff, it all kind of fitted together.
It did. It's that true holistic approach. It's your body, your mind, and your spirit.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. I know we're literally just scratching the surface of the profound learnings and lessons that you've had from this time in your life, and how that has really pressed upon you this mission to help other women in midlife. So what I would like to do is two things. Number one, I'd love for you to share how people can connect with you, especially if they're really resonating with the tips or the story that you've shared today. I highly encourage everyone to connect with you, because you are so wise and you're so inspiring, as I've said many times. And I just truly believe, more women need to know you. So how can they get in touch with you?
Thanks, Renata. Yeah. So have a look at my website, which is www.tinahuntcoaching.com. And also, please feel free to email me at any time on tinahunt1@outlook.com. I'd love to know, just to get to know you, love to know what you think of the podcast or any other questions you might have. And if you're a woman that's looking to get her vibrancy and zest for life back, which is sometimes quite difficult in midlife, then, just reach out.
Yes. Like I said, please, please do. Tina is amazing. I've loved the conversations that we've had in person and also today. And then my last request for you is, what would be your last words of wisdom that you would love to be able to share with a woman that might be going through a really challenging time right now, that might be feeling isolated, that might be feeling like, why is this happening? Just like you had felt at one time in your life. What would be that piece of wisdom you'd want to share with her today?
Mine would, from my own experience, it would be reach out. And it doesn't matter who you reach out, put your hand up, say help, be authentic, wear your heart on your sleeve, tell a close friend, tell a therapist, tell somebody that you trust that you are not coping. I think as women, we're just programmed to be copers, and that everything's great in our life. And I know when I was going through this, I was always the one saying, hi, I'm good. Yeah, everything's good. And people were just like, you're amazing. How do you cope with everything you're going through? But I wasn't amazing. I wasn't coping. Underneath the surface, I was broken. And I would just say, find the courage in yourself to be honest and to be heartfelt, because unless you reach out and help and maybe tell someone else your story like I'm doing, then you can't help yourself and you can't help other people. We have to be more open, and we have to learn to share more. So that would be my number one, just reach out.
Powerful. This has been such an impactful episode. Once again, thank you
Oh,
so much. Like, I really feel like as soon as someone hears your story, they are going to be able to find that courage that you spoke about, to be able to reach out to someone, anyone,
yeah,
in order to find some
absolutely.
help.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter who it is. Just put your hand up above the parapet and just say, I need some help.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you,
so
Renata.
much today. Oh my gosh, it was such a joy to see you. That's what
And
I'm grateful
you.
for today.
And me, seeing your lovely face. Thank you so much. It's been great to
Amazing.
share the story, and it's very cathartic to share the story for me too. Yeah.
Good. I'm so glad. Well, guys, that is our episode today. I highly encourage you, share this with someone you love, perhaps someone that you feel like might not be coping right now with the things that are going on in their lives. This is such a powerful episode, and I know it's going to impact so many people's lives. So please go ahead and share it. And then, of course, connect with Tina. But last thing I'll say is make sure to have the most amazing day, nourish your body, mind, and spirit. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.